All right. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Definitely not the news I'd like to be reporting this morning. And I used to be a geopolitics channel, if you guys are unaware, before I did politics in the United States or talk about it. But yeah, this is not the greatest update, but we have to report. This is the news right now, just reported by Central Command. Central Command is in charge of the Middle Eastern area of operation. If you are watching this video, make sure to please like the video so others can see what's going on. And I think people are going to want to see what's happening here. Because, yeah, this is getting serious for real, guys. And good morning to everybody. God bless all of you. And prayers to the families here. Okay, so as of 9:30 a.m. Eastern, March 1st, 3 U.S. service members have been killed in action and 5 are seriously wounded as part of Operation Epic Fury. Several others sustained minor shrapnel injuries and concussions and are in the process of being returned to duty. Major combat operations continue, and our response effort is ongoing. The situation is fluid, so out of respect for the families, we will withhold additional information, including the identities of our fallen warriors, until 24 hours after next of kin have been notified. And I would assume that is happening right now for anyone who's ever dealt with a situation like this. The families are typically notified immediately. Yeah, sorry, my first comment now, this is getting serious. This has always been very serious, so. Yeah, let me know how you guys feel about this. As far as any other details or updates.
Senior national security correspondent Courtney Cuby. Courtney, what more can you tell us about this breaking news right now? The U.S. service members who were killed. What are we learning? Do we know anything about how it happened?
Yeah, so far we know, according to U.S. Central Command, that's the military command in the Middle East, we know that at least 3 U.S. service members have been killed as part of this Operation Epic Fury. That's the airstrikes, this continuing campaign against Iran, and at least 5 others have been seriously wounded. Now, we know that others have sustained other injuries. The CENTCOM described them as shrapnel injuries and concussions as part of this. We're still trying to find out exactly where this occurred, if it was one location. What may sound familiar here, guys, is the idea of shrapnel injuries and concussions. You'll recall that when Iran struck at Al-Udeid, or excuse me, at Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq several years ago after the U.S. killed Qasem Soleimani, there were a number of service members, dozens, in fact, who received concussions and traumatic brain injuries.
You guys remember that? Obviously, that was under Trump 1, and that was over in Iraq, where there was the counterattack. Now, obviously, the Trump administration Central Command, I would assume, they were prepared for retaliation. Even under the Biden admin, soldiers had lost their lives over in Jordan. So, obviously, there was going to be retaliation. Iran has always said there'd be retaliation. And I would assume, based off of U.S. intelligence, it was known that something like this could have happened. There's always the threat.
Because of the concussive blast of the ballistic missiles that Iran launched at that base. So despite the fact that the individuals were able to get into shelters in most cases, get away from the blast, just the sheer magnitude of the ballistic missiles hitting caused some of those injuries. So it's not clear at this point whether that was what happened here or not, but that could be why CENTCOM is now reporting a number of concussions. Again, we're now reporting that at least 3 U.S. troops have been killed in Operation Epic Fury. At least 5 others have sustained serious injuries. And I have to say, this is an ongoing campaign against Iran by the United States, and Iran continues.
And just so you guys are aware, as we are doing this live right now, there is another wave of strikes on Tehran. Iran is getting lit up by another wave of strikes. So yeah, this is obviously ongoing. We are still waiting for a response from the president. Again, I hate to say I'd have to assume, but I would have to assume he is aware this has happened. And one thing we do know about President Trump, he's very big on maybe the proper wording is retaliation, or if you go after one of our people, it's not going to be a good day. That could be why right now Tehran is getting lit up again, as what all of these reports are saying. So yeah, keep in mind a lot of this is very speculatory, but as of right now, what we do know is that 3 service members have lost their lives.
To retaliate. So this is a number that we will continue to watch, but it will likely change in the coming hours and days, guys.
Courtney, we know you'll update us the moment you get more information, but picking up where you left off, we know the U.S. military had been building up its presence in the region for several weeks. I mean, just walk us through now. We're on day 2 of this, past the initial strikes on day 1. What is the U.S. military involvement right now? Do we have an idea of just how long this operation could last for American forces?
We should be thinking about this not in terms of days, but in terms of weeks at this point, if in fact the military is expected to achieve these goals laid out by President Trump in the only time we have heard from him since this campaign began. That was a social media video that the White House posted at about 2:30 in the morning, early Saturday morning, explaining the goals that he wants for this operation. And that is...
Yeah, and again, as of right now, this news is so fresh. I haven't seen anything from the president. Again, if you guys are just joining, it has been confirmed that 3 U.S. service members have lost their lives. The wording, we'd have to imply it's some sort of strike from a rocket or a drone based off of the wording of shrapnel.
The destruction of Iran's nuclear program, the destruction of their ballistic missile program, as he put it, the annihilation of their Navy. And then, of course, this ultimate goal, which is to overthrow or topple the Iranian regime there, which the President Trump called on the people there to play a big part in. If, in fact, the U.S. military is expected to be used for those goals, this is not a short campaign. We have already seen, as you mentioned, Joe, the U.S. military bring in the largest amount of firepower, a concentrated amount of firepower in the region in a generation. They have already unleashed hundreds of strikes against Iran in just the first 20 or 32 hours or so since this began. As I mentioned, it is a sustained air campaign, and it's not just airstrikes. They are also striking from land and striking from the sea. But it's also not just about the offensive posture here. You know, I just mentioned these service members who were killed. Iran is also retaliating. They are lashing out at countries all throughout the region, trying to hit Americans, trying to hit hit the Israelis, and the U.S. is involved in the defense of that.
Well, we actually do have a statement from the president. Nobody can believe the success we're having. 48 leaders are gone in one shot, and it's moving along rapidly. Trump also said the U.S. knows how many targets are left per Fox News source.
Not just the defense of U.S. bases, but the defense of allies. And as part of that, this massive amount of U.S. military who've moved into the region in recent weeks, they are also responsible for the defensive posture that, again, as Iran continues to lash out after the U.S. and Israel began these strikes early Saturday morning.
Okay. Yeah, from E-Disciple, again, it's great to see all of you guys, obviously under some sad news, but thank you guys so much for being here. God bless all of you. E-Disciple says, I find it odd that the media knows the locations of the Navy and reports on them. Does the DOD give that to them? Yes, you can actually track on, I think it's called Naval Tracker. You can actually track where these ships are. Now, you can't track future movements, but obviously when you're moving 5,000 people on one ship, it's kind of hard to hide or mask your movements. Like if you're heading in one direction, you can make a safe assumption that they're probably heading to a certain body of water or location. But yeah, you can track those live. And that is actually posted by the DOD. Now, we have a lot of different mixed messaging is the only way I could report on this as far as like how some politicians feel about all of this. 1 second.
Of course, there's other things.
Senator Fetterman of Pennsylvania.
It's possible right now, but right now, why can't you just acknowledge that? And I put that out on my social media.
Yes.
Look at the kind of people that are grieving that or now protesting that. Even on Columbia University, one of the student groups just announced on Twitter saying, "Death to America."
Wow.
It's just like, this is what I'm saying. Look at the kind of people that grieve for that garbage.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the point. And I'm going to be on that side. For me.
Yeah, so I'm curious how you guys feel about this. Maybe we can do a poll. 1, if you're good with the strikes, and 2, if you're not. And what's up, Climatics? Good to see you.
As a Democrat, I think Democrats country over party.
Yeah.
You know, what the base demands means nothing to me. What's the right thing and the right side of history is what happened with Epic Fury.
Yeah, I saw a video.
Okay, and thank you for the very generous $5 donation from Drastov, the Cordovian People's Republic micronation foreign ministry spokesman put out official statement supporting U.S.-Israel actions against Iran regime. Mainly, and thank you again for that donation. Thank you for the donation, and I'm seeing a lot of ones, some twos, but mostly ones. Just so you guys are aware, I made a statement. I always try to show you guys this is true. E-Disciple had asked, is it true that you can just track naval fleets? Well, yeah, this is straight from USNI News. And you can literally see where the fleets are. Yep, but again, you're not going to know what the actual, like, what's the next objective, but you can make a very safe assumption if a bunch of ships are heading to the Middle East and are surrounding one specific location, you can make a pretty safe assumption as far as what the objective might be. For those of you just joining, again, this is the confirmed report from Central Command. 3 U.S. service members have been killed in action and 5 are seriously wounded as part of Operation Epic Fury. Epic Fury is this operation. Thank you again for the very generous $10 donation. Allegedly, Joy Miller. Thank you. Prayers for all. Thank you for your reporting. In my opinion, always supporting our troops at home and abroad. On a side note, congrats on your news of the little one. Your lives are about to change. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And prayers to you. Thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of, obviously there's a lot of grieving right now. People are upset, but we don't have all the full information as far as what specific base or the names or anything like that. Again, we have to assume it's either going to be drone or rocket based off of the wording and statement here. Based off of shrapnel injuries and concussions. And yeah, this is not being reported everywhere. We don't have anything from the Trump admin as of right now. Probably should just keep that open. Let me open that up for you guys. If you guys find anything out, just let me know. This was posted 1 hour ago. Actually, let's just talk about this. Iran's IRG claims to have struck the USS Abraham Lincoln with ballistic missiles. Lie. The Lincoln was not hit. The missiles launched didn't even come close. The Lincoln continues to launch aircraft in support of Central Command's relentless campaign to defend the American people by eliminating threats from the Iranian regime. And just so you are aware, you can actually go to Fleet Tracker. You can't watch them live, but again, they are posted up, so you can see that that is accurate. If you're ever curious about the U.S. Navy's locations. And then, again, an hour ago, all this news is coming out an hour ago. An Iranian Jamaran-class corvette was struck by U.S. forces during the start of Operation Epic Fury. The ship is currently sinking to the bottom of the Gulf of Oman at Chabahar Pier. As the president said, members of Iran's armed forces, IRGC, and police must lay down your weapons. And for those of you who are just joining as well, President Trump or Fox News confirmed that they know that there are more targets. We just don't know how many more are left. Let me see what other information I can get for you guys. Again, this is all fresh. Hopefully we have right here.
So great to see you this morning, Brett. You know, Jennifer just reported on that story in the Washington Post about whether or not the Saudi Arabia was influential in sort of pushing this this strike to begin with. But however true or untrue that story is, it's safe to say that that Iran has spectacularly miscalculated the reaction of their allies or not their allies, but their neighbors in the Middle East and how they would respond to all of this.
Oh, 100%. Good morning. I think that the Gulf Arab allies are allies, and you're talking about UAE, Saudi Arabia, you're talking about Qatar, Oman, even you can get to Kuwait. They have all been hit pretty hard with multiple strikes from Iran since this started. They were privately behind the effort, publicly putting out distancing statements, as they often do. But since the attacks, it has stiffened the spine of the Gulf Arab allies. In fact, the UAE just put out that their air defenses.
Yeah, I saw a comment say that there is a new supreme leader. I am seeing reports that they have a new supreme leader, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. I will be keeping track of that for you guys. Don't worry.
Dealt with 165 ballistic missiles, 2 cruise missiles, and 541 drones since the start of this operation. They have put most of those down, but some of them, as we've seen, have hit civilian areas, including a hotel. Well, that has given the GCC, the Gulf states, really this backbone to stand firm and say an attack of one of us is an attack on all of us, and they're standing with the U.S. and Israel.
You know, I love having you on, Brett, because we've been talking all morning with Trey and with Jennifer, sort of getting the facts on the ground.
Now, the other really big news I actually was going to talk about
but
today,
having you on.
Let me just get this up for you guys, was you may have heard about this. Again, all of this is happening when most of the United States is sleeping. Thank you for the $2 donation. Department of War, not DOD. Thank you, T-SPLY. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm stuck in my 2013 time of service. My apologies. No disrespect. I was a DOD soldier, not a DOW. My apologies. Politically incorrect. Thank you for the very generous $5 donation. And this was the other really big news. Hundreds of protesters reportedly stormed the U.S. consulate in Pakistan. Now, the original report was that U.S. soldiers, which is not confirmed, or security members belonging to the United States were engaging with the protesters, but according to the reports, it was the Pakistani police and their security forces who ended up, I think they killed like 9 people, or a lot of people.
Major cities across the United States on high alert following the airstrikes that the U.S. and Israel launched against Iran. Those killed top leaders, including the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Police departments in places like New York City and Los Angeles are increasing patrols at diplomatic missions, cultural institutions, and religious sites. For more on this, let's bring in Bernard Zaper. He is a former ATF special agent in charge, also faculty associate of terrorism and justice studies at Arizona State University. He also has worked extensively undercover. So, as you assess the situation in this country, Bernard, how concerned are you that there will be some kind of blowback from the Iranians?
Well, we're very fortunate in that the blueprint and for our response to this has been laid out with the almost 2 decades worth of our involvement in the Middle East. And through the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force and Department of Homeland Security sharing operational law enforcement intelligence, we have the ability to be in front of state actors as well as people that would be criminally radicalized, for example, in the country that may be of concern. So there's a lot of work on the front end on criminal intelligence and contact interviews to gather information about people that might do.
All right, well, I guess this is a good time to break this breaking news. So, hold on, I just had it open. Breaking, Trump says Iran wants to talk, and he agreed to talk. The source is The Atlantic. President Trump has been very, very low key as far as what they're saying and not saying. So I'm not exactly what that means. We want to talk. But according to The Atlantic, Trump says Iran wants to talk and he agreed to talk.
Do something here domestically, and that is shared at all levels of law enforcement. So very confident about our ability to get in front of potential acts.
We're just getting word that the U.S. consulate in Karachi, Pakistan, is under some kind of an attack. Attack might be too strong a word, but hundreds of protesters apparently have stormed the U.S. consulate in Karachi in response to the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran. And of course, it brings back memories of what happened at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in 1979, when really our terrible relations with Iran began. It's not just in this country, obviously, Bernard, that Americans have to be concerned at this moment.
And so as far as this news report right here, I'm looking at a Reuters article, and I fact-checked with like 5 other major outlets. At least 9 protesters were shot and killed when crowds breached the outer wall of the U.S. consulate in the Pakistani city of Karachi, following news of U.S. and Israel strikes on Iran and killed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. It's not confirmed that it was done by the U.S. Again, it's being said that this was done by Pakistani security forces, but Central Command has not reported on this story at all. They haven't really talked about this.
Absolutely. I mean, we're dealing with 1,000 years for revenge, essentially, of radicalized Islam and people that call to what they believe is the duty in response to the U.S. involvement in the region. And it is something that is anticipated, and we have to anticipate and do everything we can to make sure it does not touch domestic U.S. or our citizens abroad.
We know that, well, millions of people crossed the border under the Biden administration, many of whom we don't know anything about their background or where they came from, who they are. How concerned are you that there are sleeper cells, Iranian sleeper cells in this country right now who are waiting to do the bidding of whatever government was there or is established out of the rubble?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a legitimate concern, and it has been found and documented in the capture of Middle Eastern men that are coming from various parts of the region with a very central ideology.
I remember early on, actually, when Trump administration started their massive deportations and security of the border, early reports of Iranians crossing the border, that's when people were starting to get a little fearful. Not fearful, but paying attention, like, oh, this is an actual open border, and this could be problematic as far as quote-unquote sleeper cells. But right now, yeah, there's a lot of back and forth. I'm still waiting on more politicians to comment on what happened here as far as U.S. service members losing their lives. Obviously, this is a very sensitive topic, so I don't know. I think right now there's a big divide as far as what politicians are going to say and not say, because in one sense, it's like Khamenei, not the greatest person ever, but then the counter argument is, well, we don't want to get involved with a war. And this is what Fetterman is trying to argue right now on CNN.
Kentucky, Republican Senator Rand Paul posted, the Constitution conferred the power to declare or initiate war to Congress for a reason, to make war less likely. My oath of office is to the Constitution. So with studied care, I must oppose another presidential war. So just to be clear, it doesn't concern you that President Trump launched these strikes. I understand that he came to the so-called Gang of Eight, the leadership and members of the Intelligence Committee. But more broadly, if these strikes continue, you don't think Congress should have a role?
First of all, who does Rand Paul agree with? He doesn't even agree with Republicans. He voted against them too. Now, wow. So I don't follow him, and I don't really use his kinds of insights in all of it. So what happened yesterday was incredibly successful. And now Iran was trying to acquire a nuclear bomb, and they have the kinds of missile technology that could inflict significant damage.
We can do another informal poll. 1, if you agree with Rand Paul, and 2, if you agree with Fetterman. I am curious what you guys are about to say. 1, if you agree with Rand Paul. 2, if you agree with Mr. Fetterman. This might be the first time a bunch of conservatives are siding here.
And Israel and our American forces as well, too.
Somebody said 3.
They refused to negotiate. They refused to change a different way forward. And now I fully support that. And now if you talk about the the War Powers Act, that wasn't broken. Now, so that's the conversation that we're now. And I don't understand why we can't just say, thank God, no, we weren't lost any.
And I think Fetterman might be the only or the most prominent Democrat right now who is really fully taking the stance 100%. I can't find other clips kind of on that same level of Mr. Fetterman. If you guys know what other politician I should look up who's kind of saying what he's saying, please let me know.
I want to thank President Trump for having the guts to do this. This is what other presidents had not been willing to do. I know the objective is to stop their short and medium-range missiles. If we didn't, our troops, our servicemen and women would have been at risk all throughout the Middle East, including our ally Israel. So what we're doing is the right thing to do.
Somebody said, Older Y said, I'm expecting Fetterman to change his political affiliation. I don't know if he'll ever change his political affiliation. Just so you guys are aware, Fetterman is not a fan of Kristi Noem. In fact, he has said he would want her fired. But he also is saying we can't get rid of ICE. So a little back and forth as far as policies are concerned, but I understand what you're saying. But I've heard multiple Democrats even say he's not a Democrat, and we've actually played this on this channel.
You'd like to, I'm glad that Khomeini's gone. The Ayatollah is gone. The world's a safer place. You hate to want death for somebody, but he has caused so much death and destruction. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to continue to hammer the living daylights out of them. So will Israel. Hopefully our allies in the Middle East will join in. Our allies in Europe should join in. We're making the world a safer place. But we're going to finish this. And if we don't, we'll be doing this in 5 years and 10 years. I've talked to Secretary Rubio. The Iranian negotiators were stubborn. They were arrogant. They had no interest in giving up any of their weapons. They wanted to continue to enrich nuclear weapons. They wanted to continue to build missiles. They were building about 100 missiles a month. They've got an unbelievable stockpile. So the right things were happening.
And there was a comment here recently who said, how was Iran able to launch missiles? They have a massive stockpile. I mean, that's kind of the answer. They have many different locations to launch. They have a really big stockpile. And so, logistically speaking, it's hard to nail down every single target out there. It's a big country to begin with as well. Thank you for the very generous $5 donation from, is your name Politically Incorrect? That would include the mislabeling of an illegal war by a leftist. Yes. Thank you so much for your donation.
I hope to God that we're able to finish this and we end up with a country that could be an ally.
Okay. And let me play this other clip here. What we're also seeing right now are people who are Democrat or left-leaning, but happen to be Iranian and not being happy with some of the rhetoric from their own party. That is happening a lot.
I think that it is imperative the Democratic Party wake up and get past their dislike of Donald Trump, the President Trump, and their feelings of international conflicts going on. This is about national security. This is about what is possible in the Middle East. This is about being a good neighbor, good partner to the Gulf states and what their aspirations are. This is about supporting the people of Venezuela. This is about dismembering our relationship with, or not dismembering, but resetting our relationship with China. Right now, 55% of the oil production that Iran produces goes to China despite sanctions. You want to support the people of Ukraine? You want to end that war? You have to. There is no getting around dismembering this Islamic Republic.
Right, and that is kind of the issue here as far as if you're upset with this, then you also have to be upset with these other factors which are helping the stuff you're upset with. You can see how it's a bit of a logical contradiction as far as the opposite talking point or viewpoint being upset with the president as far as doing this. Thank you so much for the very generous $2 donation from Christopher. Daily Watchers here. Happy birthday, Whitney. Thank you, T-SPLY, and shout out Whitney. Happy birthday to you.
It is non-negotiable. It is not a want to have. It is a have to have. And it's not just for the Iranian people. I think you have to trust the Iranian people. We know this government better than anyone else. When you dismember and decapitate this regime, you are going to see a change in the Middle East, in Venezuela, in China, in Ukraine. And I think, quite frankly, their ideology has really, it's caused a lot of problems for us worldwide. We need to take it seriously. And I think at this point, we have a tremendous opportunity. This will be like ending the Soviet Union, the Berlin Wall. This is a transformational moment for humankind, for security. And as an American, this is in our interest to complete it. So I am a Democrat. I have been a huge Democrat.
Okay.
I am incredibly disappointed with my party. I do not see myself in them in this moment.
Moj and Masi.
Okay, and let me know if you guys are also seeing this as well. Now, as we have started this live stream, we are seeing a lot of the pushback right now from pretty big political commentators who actually appear on CNN. We'll start with Paul Rykoff. Is it Paul Rykoff? Yeah. You guys probably have seen him before, maybe even recognize the name. The first unannounced American casualties, 3 KIA, 5 wounded. This is all they've shared so far because they are shamefully and dangerously not doing regular press conferences, as is the standard modern American during war. To help the families of these fallen service members in this time of unimaginable pain and loss, support the heroic work at TAPS. Thank you for the generous $5 donation. It seems the rats are showing true colors. Evil, truly, it is spiritual battle. It is a spiritual battle. Yeah, I'm trying to find kind of equal weight here as far as what both sides are saying. Obviously, I don't think anyone would be happy that this happened, but there's different viewpoints as far as why it happened or if it was worth it. We're not getting any details as far as updates on, again, where the base was, who was killed, or anything like that. We're not going to get that for probably 24 hours. And that's according to the DOW, Department of War, not the DOD. Can't show that. And that's here. Nothing from Central Command. But Mario did post something here recently. Apparently, they're in the middle of a strike in the capital of Iran. Jackson Hickle. I'm not going to play Jackson Hickle. Yeah, let's see this. Why not? Here's Netanyahu. Let's see what he has to say. Oh, not in English, sorry. No audio here. Nope. All right. Okay, guys, yeah, I don't want to drag this on, but that's the news as of right now. 3 U.S. service members confirmed have been killed in Operation Epic Fury, and others have been injured with shrapnel wounds and also concussions. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as you could. Honestly, guys, I've always been following geopolitical events, but this is not typically what we report on my channel, but I do appreciate you guys being here and trusting that we could all do this together and figure out what's happening. I will do my best to find out what the political outcome is as far as what's happening in the United States, the different back and forth, so make sure to please subscribe. I will pull that up for you guys, and let me know if you guys want me to cover this, because this is going to be the news, people. This is literally going to be the news throughout the entire week. We're still waiting on, like, official statements from the president as far as, like, a longer press conference or something other than, like, really fast tweets or posts. But, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as you could. Make sure to please subscribe. We have more videos coming out today as far as what we typically post. But, yeah, I'll do my best to cover this. and try to find you guys the random details nobody else is reporting. But yeah, not the most fun video to make or post about. It's always sad when this happens. And shout out to all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. God bless all of you, and please seek Christ. Thank you guys. We'll see you later.